Blake Lively might have just done herself in this battle with Justin Baldoni, although she didn't do it intentionally. It was something she said
long before she ever worked with Justin Baldoni.
Right, but there's something she said that has now been resurfaced, and it is right on the nose as far as what the issues are in her battle with Justin Baldoni.
Who's really winning this war between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni? The powerful smear machine is still going, but what's really crazy is this new person she hired. We got a lot to discuss.
Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni were supposed to be the dream team behind the much-hyped film adaptation of It Ends With Us. On paper, it seemed like a perfect arrangement. The beloved actress and the rising director tackling a story that fans had been buzzing about for years. But beneath those polished Hollywood headlines, tensions were brewing. Tensions nobody on the outside could have imagined. And right when the film's hype reached a fever pitch, everything exploded in one of the most scandalous legal feuds Tinseltown has witnessed in recent memory. The reasons for their falling out sound almost too dramatic to be real. Blake's supporters insist she was pushed to her limit by Justin's alleged mishandling of the production, while Justin's team accuses Blake of orchestrating a ruthless smear campaign, complete with suspiciously timed magazine features and a barrage of negative press. Meanwhile, casual fans are left wondering how their favorite Hollywood star could wind up in the crosshairs of this kind of turmoil. Tonight, we're digging into the twists and turns, the private conversations that got leaked, the hidden tension that erupted on set, and the widespread rumors of a power play orchestrated by some of Hollywood's biggest behind-the-scenes influencers. By the end, you might not look at your favorite celebrities or the headlines you read quite the same way ever again. It all started with a spark of excitement. When news broke that Blake Lively would star in It Ends With Us, fans of the original novel practically lost their minds. The beloved actress had spent years building a reputation for her compelling screen presence, while Justin Baldoni had already proven himself as both a charismatic actor and an up-and-coming director with a knack for emotionally charged storytelling. The pairing seemed perfect. But as the weeks passed, talk of creative differences began to swirl. Insiders whispered that Blake wanted more control than the usual leading lady contract allowed. She had her own ideas about character arcs, shooting schedules, and promotional strategies, ideas that didn't always align with Justin's. At first, those disagreements were small enough to chalk up to creative passion. Hollywood is no stranger to strong-willed personalities clashing for the sake of art. What nobody realized was just how deep those cracks ran. In less than a month, on-set rumors multiplied. Anonymous staffers claimed they felt tension in the air whenever Blake and Justin were in the same room. Moments that should have been calm script read-throughs turned into low-level tug-of-war sessions, with each side insisting they had the better vision for how the story should unfold. Questions surfaced online. Was a single film project big enough for two big personalities? And if they couldn't agree behind closed doors, who would end up taking the blame once the cameras started rolling? Even those early squabbles were nothing compared to what happened when lawyers and PR teams jumped in. The real fireworks came later, and by then, there was no turning back. Blake Lively's squeaky clean image was legendary, until whispers of her mean streak started surfacing. Online forums, gossip blogs, and even some offhand celebrity interviews hinted that Blake didn't always get along with the people around her. Some brushed it off as typical Hollywood rumor-mongering. Every successful actor faces baseless accusations at some point, right? The cracks in her polished image widened when old interview clips re-emerged, showing Blake making snarky remarks. One segment featured her responding sarcastically to fans who wanted to share their personal experiences related to the content of her movies. Another interview saw her joking about a co-star's background in a way many viewers found insensitive. For a while, her fans defended her. They claimed it was dry humor, nothing more. But as more evidence piled up, it became harder to dismiss the possibility that she might genuinely harbor a mean streak. Then came stories from former co-stars who hinted that Blake could be controlling or even dismissive on set. She'd allegedly give unsolicited notes on scenes that weren't even hers. She was rumored to want near-total authority over her hair, makeup, and wardrobe teams, so much so that some stylists found her intimidating to approach. Could these glimpses of her rumored behavior help explain why things with Justin Baldoni escalated so quickly? Transition to next section. The next step in this messy saga involved allegations that took mean girl drama to a whole new level. Allegation delivered in a legal complaint that painted Justin Baldoni as the bully. But was that the real story, or was something else going on? Few things are more shocking than reading a celebrity lawsuit. When Blake Lively officially filed her complaint against Justin Baldoni, it read like a Hollywood thriller script. She accused him of creating a hostile environment on set. She claimed he had undermined her contributions, misrepresented the scope of her role, and worked behind the scenes to tarnish her credibility. For a moment, it looked like Justin might be in serious trouble. Major publications picked up the story overnight. Headlines proclaimed he was the reason the production had fallen apart. Some media outlets even used that old cliché, "The receipts are in," implying that everything Blake wrote in her legal documents had to be 100% accurate. But then Justin fought back, and not just with words. He and his team started releasing their own evidence, from text messages to behind-the-scenes videos. Each item told a different tale, showing times when Blake allegedly demanded script changes on her own, contradicted earlier instructions, or insisted on last-minute rewrites that disrupted the entire shooting schedule. One text conversation, which Justin's camp shared with the press, showed Blake enthusiastically approving certain creative decisions she later claimed to have opposed all along. Fans who saw these documents began to wonder if the damning receipts belonged to Blake or Justin. Suddenly, it was no longer clear which side was telling the truth. The story that seemed so black and white in that initial wave of headlines became far murkier. Still, nothing prepared anyone for how quickly the media fanned the flames. Soon, accusations of a smear machine overshadowed the actual lawsuit, and a certain high-profile newspaper became the focal point of controversy. Shortly after Blake Lively filed her lawsuit, a major New York-based publication ran a lengthy exposé that painted Justin Baldoni in a near-villainous light. The timing was almost too perfect. The piece went live within hours of Blake's filing, complete with detailed commentary about the alleged smear tactics Justin and his associates supposedly used against her. It read like a condemnation rather than a balanced report, and readers assumed Justin must have been guilty beyond any doubt. Critics of that article, however, argued it was more like a puff piece for Blake than actual reporting. They pointed out how quickly it was published. Did the writers even give Justin or his team the chance to respond? The real shocker was the claim that the publication had been tipped off about the lawsuit beforehand, allowing them to draft and finalize a scathing article within mere hours of the official filing. People began throwing around the term smear machine, an ironic twist, given that Blake's side was accusing Justin of the same thing. Suddenly everyone wondered, who was really behind the coordinated press push? Had Blake's PR team orchestrated a strategic rollout to dominate the news cycle and ensure she owned the narrative before Justin could defend himself? While some journalists stuck to the script, portraying Justin as the aggressor, others started pointing out serious ethical flaws in the coverage. If the newspaper truly had advanced knowledge of the lawsuit, they might have crossed professional boundaries by presenting only one side of the story. And if they did that, what else might they have done to shape public perception? Questions of journalistic integrity soon morphed into something even bigger. People wanted to know how these negative headlines affected the personal and professional lives of everyone involved. That's when lawyers began quitting, new allegations emerged, and the entire saga took a dramatic new turn. As the media storm raged, observers noticed something odd. Blake Lively's top lawyer suddenly withdrew from the case. Rumors spread like wildfire, each wilder than the last. Some speculated that the attorney had discovered critical details Blake failed to disclose, details that might undermine the integrity of her entire lawsuit. Others whispered that Blake was difficult to work with behind closed doors. Perhaps she'd shown the same mean girl tendencies to her own legal counsel, questioning their ability and even delaying payments. Regardless of what actually triggered it, the lawyer's exit at that pivotal moment looked bad. It fueled the narrative that Blake's lawsuit might be more smoke than fire, that maybe she'd exaggerated parts of her story or cherry-picked evidence to create a sympathetic public image. Meanwhile, Justin's team kept doubling down, releasing snippets of text message threads, video logs from the set, and other material they claimed would prove Blake's alleged manipulations. Ryan Reynolds, Blake's husband and one of Hollywood's biggest personalities, also got pulled into the mess. Initially, his name appeared in legal documents alleging he'd played a part in strong-arming or influencing various Hollywood agencies to take Blake's side. But as the feud escalated, Ryan filed motions to be removed entirely from the lawsuit. He insisted he had little involvement beyond being a supportive spouse, but Justin's lawyer shot back. claiming that Ryan used his influence to damage Justin's reputation behind the scenes. That set the stage for a showdown nobody saw coming. One that could put all their careers at risk if a courtroom forced them to disclose emails, phone calls, and private communications for the world to see. Amid the legal chaos, whispers emerged that Blake's team was quietly fishing for a settlement. But Justin's camp had zero interest in hush money or quiet deals, and that refusal ramped up the tension even more. One question hung over Hollywood like a storm cloud. Would Blake and Justin find a way to settle, or were they destined for an ugly, protracted trial? Insiders started leaking hints that Blake's side was willing to talk about a financial payout, one that might allow both parties to walk away without airing even more dirty laundry. But if that rumor was true, Justin wanted no part of it. To him, the damage ran deeper than money. The endless stream of accusations tarnished his professional standing. He had lost key opportunities, sponsors, and possibly the faith of major Hollywood power players. A quiet settlement from Justin's perspective would never undo that harm, especially if the public had already labeled him the bad guy. Only a trial, in his eyes, could offer genuine vindication. He wanted a judge and jury to hear the ET evidence, see the original text exchanges, watch the behind-the-scenes footage, and determine for themselves who'd orchestrated the real smear campaign. Friends of Justin said he'd become more determined than ever, fueled by a sense of betrayal. He believed a fair legal process was the only way to clear his name and prevent any future speculation that he'd simply thrown money at the problem to save face. On Blake's side, a settlement might have prevented more embarrassing details from coming to light. Details about the rumored manipulations, alleged half-truths, or potentially shady coordination with media outlets. But with tensions this high, and with so many eyes watching, it seemed unlikely that either side would get a clean exit. If a trial happens, the consequences could be far-reaching, and not just for Blake and Justin themselves. If this feud goes to court, it won't be a tidy affair. Hollywood lawyers are already comparing it to some of the entertainment industry's most notorious legal brawls, warning it could get incredibly personal and destructive. Reputation is currency in show business, and every scandalous tidbit revealed in a public courtroom is one more blow to the careers of those involved. Consider the potential fallout. If Blake is found to have fabricated or exaggerated her claims, she risks losing far more than a single role. Studios might hesitate before hiring someone with a reputation for litigious behavior or behind-the-scenes conflict. Her personal brand could take a hit that not even her considerable star power could fully mend. Meanwhile, Justin stands to lose momentum for his rising career if the jury or the public ultimately decides he's the one at fault. No matter which side wins, the entire spectacle could sour fans on both of them. Then there's the financial side. Court battles at this level are expensive. Legal teams charge astronomical fees, and the longer a case drags on, the more it drains bank accounts. Both Blake and Justin presumably have resources, but it's not just the money. The stress of litigation, the endless swirl of negative press, and the potential for losing brand deals could create a long-term ripple effect. Sponsors and studios hate controversy. They see it as a risk that cuts into profits. There's even a theory that something bigger is unfolding behind the scenes, involving PR firms, studio politics, and battles for creative control. Is this only about Blake versus Justin, or has it become a proxy war for something larger in the Hollywood hierarchy? In Hollywood, power doesn't just reside with movie stars and directors. Publicists, agency heads, and studio executives often pull strings the public never sees. Now, rumors hint that heavyweight PR agencies might be fueling this feud to manipulate public narratives, score political points, or even settle unrelated industry scores. A-listers get tangled in these hidden tug-of-war battles more often than fans realize. Some claim that certain agencies used Blake's allegations against Justin as an opportunity to discredit him for reasons unrelated to "It Ends With Us." Perhaps a competing studio found his upcoming projects threatening, or maybe an influential executive was holding a personal grudge. Conspiratorial or not, it wouldn't be the first time someone used a tabloid frenzy to sabotage a rival. Meanwhile, others whisper that Blake is just a pawn in a grand scheme orchestrated by bigger Hollywood players who have a stake in controlling certain franchises and want to keep Justin from climbing too high. If any of these theories are true, this legal standoff might be about far more than a single film or a personal clash between two strong personalities. Instead, it would reveal how quickly any star, even one as famous as Blake, can be weaponized in the unrelenting, often brutal chessboard of show business. Whether or not these grand conspiracy theories hold water, there's no denying this battle has exposed cracks in Hollywood's polished veneer. So what happens next? In the glitzy world of red carpets and million-dollar deals, image is everything. One moment, you're a beloved star with a perfect public persona. The next, you're tangled in a lawsuit that casts doubt on everything you stand for. That's the precarious tightrope Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni are walking right now. With every headline, leaked text, and strategic legal filing, they step further out onto shaky ground, and nobody knows if the wire can hold both of them. We've seen allegations of mean girl behavior. We've read about lawyers abandoning ship, major newspapers possibly violating ethical boundaries, and carefully timed articles that look suspiciously like deliberate smear attempts. We've learned about rumored behind-the-scenes manipulations, surprising alliances, and potential betrayals. Yet the truth, if it even exists in a single pristine form, remains elusive. In the end, one question towers above all the swirling: gossip. Who stands to gain the most? If Blake somehow proves her allegations, she could emerge as a symbolic figure for those who've been mistreated on set, championing fair treatment in an industry rife with power imbalances. If Justin triumphs, he not only clears his name, but deals a blow to Hollywood's habit of trial by headline, reminding everyone that real evidence still matters. For the rest of us watching from the sidelines, this saga offers a sobering reminder. In a place where stories are currency, rumors spread faster than wildfire, and reputations teeter on a single accusation, anyone can become a target or a perpetrator overnight. The next time you hear about a high-profile celebrity scandal, consider the hidden machinations behind the scenes. Because in Hollywood, nothing is ever as simple or straightforward as the headlines make it seem. Only time, and maybe the discovery phase of a courtroom showdown, will reveal who was really behind the curtain pulling the strings. Till then, we'll all be left wondering how far these stars are willing to go to defend their truths, protect their images, and keep their careers alive.